G'day folks, and welcome back to the channel for episode number 2 of my Lightning Eye of Reckoning Archon playthrough. Last episode we got a decent start here in Act 1, and this episode we are going to finish Act 1 and probably transition over to the Eye of Reckoning round about the end of Act 1. Maybe we'll do it before the Warden, maybe we'll do it just after. Haven't exactly decided 100% when I'm going to do it, but end of Act 1, beginning of Act 2 sort of area is what I have planned. Now, before we get started, let's go ahead and talk to Captain Bourbon over here. Just get some extra XP and also bank a lot of these components. Okay, I don't actually need this one. Because I've already completed this quest, this can wait until the next difficulty. I'll probably use that one in Ultimate. I tend to skip Elite at this point. But if you do go into Elite, that is a nice quest you can complete early on. Okay, we basically just need to go up the coast here to the Burridge Estates and then kill Krieg, and we are done with Act 1. In between episodes, I did spend this point here. I figured this should be fairly self-evident, but I didn't spend it on screen, so I'll point that out. I'm also going to spend some points in physique. I'm going to hang on to this one. I haven't decided yet, or I haven't discovered yet, I guess I should say, just how bad the energy drain on Eye of Reckoning is going to be. And so I'm going to hang on to some points just in case it happens to drain my entire energy bar in, 3 seconds or whatever. Alright, so continuing from last episode, we are just going to fireball things and wait for our spirits, our wind devils rather, to catch up. Fireball, pretty effective against most things, anything that is immune to fire, which there will be some immune to fire stuff later in Act 1. Anything that's immune to fire is definitely not immune to lightning, and so we will be able to kill pretty much everything with this. And we'll be getting the Tsunami proc online just before Krieg, I believe. It might be just outside of his house. How many points do we need, actually? We need 6. Yeah, so it's going to be just outside of Krieg's estate. Will be our 6th point, and we will be good to go at that point. Alright. Now, the good thing about these pets, and later on the Guardians of Empyrean, when we get our hands on those, is that they're going to kill things while we move. So we're running around, we're picking up loot, we're, dodging attacks or whatever. The damage over time from these guys is still going to be ticking. Anything that's near them is going to be taking damage, and eventually we'll be stacking a whole bunch of lightning damage on them. They'll be doing lightning attacks, so Maelstrom over here is basically, they zap things with lightning in addition to just doing damage to everything around them. It's going to be a good time for us, not so much for the things that are going to be getting zapped. Right, nearly at the end here, there is this devotion shrine just at the top of my screen there, and we are absolutely going to be doing that. I am going to clear the area first, though. Good practice on hardcore is always clear the area before you click on any totem or any desecrated shrine. There will come a point in any build's kind of lifespan where you get kind of strong, and at that point you can kind of ignore the whole, make sure you clear the area before you attack anything. You can ignore that once you get to a certain level of strength. Act 1 is not there. You are not strong enough to ignore the rules, as it were. Okay, little bit of electrocute damage and some physique. Now that electrocute damage, because it applies to us, also applies to these. And they are mostly electrocute damage at the moment, so that's a nice little boost. The Shambler here, the only thing you need to know about this Shambler is you must stay in melee range. You can fireball him from melee range, do whatever you like, but stay in melee range. He will have a Sundering attack. It's probably going to be the next thing he does. Oh, one more. I'm going to dodge this one just to show you the evade when he eventually does it. Any day now. Come on, mate, you're making me look bad. There we go. So you can dodge anything that's asunder just by evading it. The one thing I will say is you really want to stay in melee with this guy. When you start running around, he is going to throw rocks at you, he's going to bring the roof down. This rock here, if that hits you, you can say goodbye to half your health bar. It does crazy damage. You do not want to get hit by that. Also, don't run into meteor showers while you're sundered. It's quite possibly the only way you can actually die in Act 1. Not a good plan. The Shambler's Heart here. Now, this would be amazing for a Force Wave soldier. We're not playing a Force Wave soldier, though, so it's kind of okay. It's still pretty good. The Chaos and Elemental resistances, the PS Res, extra armor, physique, all that stuff is pretty good. However, sheltering is going to be cold resistance. I like to pretend that individual resistances here don't exist, so I just ignore that entire line of cold resistance. I'm only interested in elemental, which does all three. Also, we just got a level, so there's no point pumping this bar up. We are going to rip all of this out at the end of Act 1 and change over to Oathkeeper. So I'm just going to get some more damage on my Wind Devils here. So Raging Tempest here is going to add flat cold damage, which is every second you do that damage. The Electrocute here, it's nice, but it's damage over time, which means it's constantly being overwritten by the Wind Devils, and the flat damage is just better in my opinion. Granted, it's cold and not lightning, but, you know, what can we do? Alright, so we're out in the Burridge outskirts. There's actually a lot of stuff to do out here. It's a very small area, but it's very dense in terms of places we need to go and things we need to do. The first thing we need to do is we need to rescue Angrim, or Angron. I don't know, one of them's a blacksmith, the other one's a demon prince. I can never remember which one it is. Angrim is the blacksmith. Okay, so Angron is the big angry red guy. Make sure you pick up the quest here, otherwise you'll have to come back and get it before Angrim will talk to you. And we're going to side with Duncan. We don't need any of the blacksmith recipes, but Duncan will get us more XP. Okay, I'm looking at this, and it's got basically the same armor. So I'm not worried about the armor. The Ring of Steel proc, yeah, it's nice. Main hand damage, it's okay. Piercing damage, I don't really care. This has got a stun on it, though. The difference is going to be very minor. We'll lose some stats. We'll lose some energy absorbed from spells, which at this point is not really relevant. And we'll lose 10% elemental damage. I'm happy to make that trade. The other thing I'm going to do is look at this belt. Now, this belt's got 17 regen per second, which is pretty good. It's also got 8% physique, which is pretty good. Let's just see what happens to my health if I swap this in. It goes down. So 7% health is worth more health than 8% physique. I've also got the scavenge plating on the other one, so I'm going to keep that for now. But of mending is pretty good in Act 1. It's even still decent in Act 2. So we'll just continue up here. So Angrim is he's over here. You can also start probably looking at doing totems at this point. Now, the thing with totems is you need to do enough damage to kill them before they can kind of get out of hand. So the whirly boys, what are they called? Raging spirits? No. Wind devils, there we go. The wind devils are mostly still damage over time. They're not great for burst damage. We're more or less killing things with the fireball, honestly. I'm going to try this against my better judgment. I actually think this is a bad idea, but we'll see kind of what spawns. Spiders is fine, and only a handful is fine. This could have been much, much worse. But as you can see, if I stop fireballing that, it is dying, but kind of slowly. We did actually get some good stuff out of this, which I guess it's nice. Let's grab the rest of the loot here, and let's have a look at what we actually got. Now, shields are a no, so I'm not even going to look at that. But Tempest Brigandine Jacket of Readiness is pretty much ideal. I don't think I could ask for something better than that at this point. More armor would be nice. Harmonious of the Void is... Harmonious is pretty good. Of the Void is completely worthless. But this is probably a trade I'm willing to make. I'll most likely be swapping in the Shambler's Heart at level 18, but until then, that amulet will be pretty good. And otherwise, I think we are done there. So over here we've got Angrim. And we're going to say we're here for the hammer, and Duncan needs it. It's time the hammer was passed on, and I will side with Duncan. Now, if you side with Angrim, he will just go back to town, and then you can find him there and get your quest completion. If you side with Duncan, you have to come back here and talk to him, and then go back to town and get your quest completion. He does give you more XP for completing his quest than Angrim does, except, well, actually only on normal. In Elite and Ultimate, they both give the same amount of XP. Okay, next job we have to do in this area is run up this road. This might be blocked. If this is blocked for you, you can see over here this cave entrance. You want to go this way and in the front door. If this is not blocked, however, you get a bit of an easy pass for this little dungeon here. And we can just go in. This is technically the back door. You get to skip a really big fight over here with a bunch of crystals, a bunch of enemies. It can be a little bit dangerous, actually. But we get to just come over here and grab our devotion point. And also some formidable gloves. Formidable no longer has physical resistance on it, which kind of sucks, actually. Physical resistance is really good. But we don't have it anymore, and so Formidable is now no longer the almost auto-equip that it used to be. It's still good, but it's not as good. I put these on for the increased armor, and for the additional health, basically. Health, physique, healing effect increase. The rest of that is nice to have, but not amazing. Let's go ahead and burn this down. Now, your totem in this area, it could be here. Go ahead and do it if you want. This will be an ethereal totem, so it's going to be a little more dangerous. Be very careful of ethereal totems, because you could end up with ethereal vanguard instead of ethereals. And the vanguard are a little bit scary. Actually, at this point in the game, the vanguard are going to be a lot scary. So just be aware. I would say be very scared of totems in general at this point. The build probably can kill them. Like, we do a lot of damage, but it's kind of not worth it. Ulgrim here, this is Steven Seagal, the cook who's actually a demigod of destruction. He will come into the story later on. But for now, we just want to rescue him. We want to get him in our camp so as he can make dinner for everybody. And just increase morale, basically. Okay, level 14. Now, I could, at this point, go and respec for Eye of Reckoning. We could get, what are we up to? I think 13 points in Eye of Reckoning at this point. I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm going to keep going with the Whirly Boys. Probably until just before Krieg. I might respec and then use Eye of Reckoning to kill Krieg, or I might just kill him and then do the respec at the end of Act 1. Doesn't really matter. For Oathkeeper, generally speaking, you're going to want to wait. Maybe not as long as you can, because you can wait until level 100 if you want. But you're going to want to wait probably at least level 15, 16, 17, 20. I'm going to leave it until the end of Act 1, put it that way. This is an Eye of Reckoning build, so I should do it, but also low-level Oathkeeper is just torture. So I'm not going to. Okay, Argabol, the Shank here. Is that Shank or Skank? No, that's definitely Shank. Yep, I read it correctly the first time. The Final March are pretty good boots for this level. I don't know why he wasn't healing the boss, or maybe he was and I just killed him faster. No, I'm not that good. The Final March here, 7% movement speed, bunch of health, some other stuff. The Aether resistance here, I'm up to 42%. You might not have these boots, in fact you almost certainly won't. Just keep your eye out for anything that's not a shield, I guess. Anything that has some Aether resistance on it, and just hang on to it. You know, if you happen to find a pair of pants that has 12% Aether resistance on it, something like that, just keep them in your inventory for when we fight Krieg, and that will let us stand in his stomp, or otherwise stay at close range, and kill him that way. If your Aether resistance is bad, you're going to have to run when he does his stomp, and yeah, nobody wants to actually do that. Alright, let's turn the loot off. So I think this is the first time I've used the loot filter option. Definitely recommend having it. You can die pretty quickly, so you're going to. Just turning the loot off basically stops that from being on the screen, and makes it a little bit easier for you to see what's going on. Now, I'm standing in fire, which you never want to do, but he's almost dead, so it's probably fine. And once you're down to one of these, you probably regen more than he does in damage, so it's fine. Alright, so those two were part of another quest. Stormcaller's Circlet. Ooh, hello. +2 to Wind Devil is really good. The rest of it is kind of okay. I might use this just until we get to Krieg. I'm going to swap the Milton's Cask back in when we do get to Krieg. Because resistances are... maybe king's not the right word, but resistances are really, really useful. And definitely something you want to have available. Okay, we're done here. We've got our blacksmith, we got our devotion shrine, we killed our two final zombies for quests. Now we head up the road to Burrich Village. There is some optional stuff. There's a big, nasty, scary guy in a cave who you could go and fight if you want to. I'm definitely not going to, but you absolutely can go kill him. You'll get a nice medal out of it. I believe it's a bleeding medal from memory. So I'm not really interested in it, and it is a somewhat dangerous fight, so I'm going to skip it, but you absolutely can go and do it if you wish. The entry to his cave is not marked on the map, so if you find a cave that doesn't show up on the map up here, like it doesn't show, you know, stairs down or cave entry or whatever it's called, you know you've found the guy, and it'll give you a big warning, something dangerous lives here or something like that, and you'll get another little pop-up here that'll tell you all about the fancy extra damage that you're going to be taking from everything in that cave. Okay, so we're going to have another fight here. You're going to have 3 waves, and the third wave will have 1, 2, or 3 heroes in it. Now, this is usually the point where I say, if you're playing on normal, you'll get 1 hero. If you're playing on veteran, you're more likely to get 2 or 3. Having said that, the last couple of times I've done this fight, I've only got 1, even on veteran, so we'll see if that changes. I'm kind of hoping I get all 3, just so as the fight can be a little more fun. How many did we get? We got just the 1. Maybe this is one of those changes that they don't document, or maybe I've just been getting lucky? Do we call this lucky? Getting 1 hero instead of 3? I mean, the fight's easier, but, you know, less loot as well. Anyway, that's fine. Just know that if you're playing on veteran, you could have up to 3 heroes there. And let's grab these cultist orders. Right, so these orders here, there's a couple of tricks you can do with them so you don't have to go and get them in Elite or in Ultimate. I usually don't bother, but what we can do with that, if we just go back to Devil's Crossing here, we do have some quests to turn in as well, which I'm going to do. So, yep, I did what had to be done. Let's go ahead and sell all of this stuff. Now, I've already kind of decided that I don't need these things. One thing about blue items, unless they are very good for your build, don't use them, okay? The blue and purple items, a lot of the time, are complete noob traps. I just saw yet another thread on the Reddits where someone posted a Grimtools link to their character. It's absolutely covered head to toe in purple and blue level 50 items. The character is level 71, and they're saying, this character is boring. And the reason why it's boring is because you decided to use all the fancy, shiny purple and blue loot instead of the green items that'll actually make your build good. There was some other issues as well with the build, but the main one was just using way too many purple and blue items. So I would say boots, gloves, pants are probably the only ones you really want to look at, and only for their armor value generally. I mean, obviously do what makes you happy, but that's just what I think. Right, Dureni here. So Dureni has a quest because we have picked up the cultist orders here. These specifically mention Dureni. It's got his name in the text there, and it says that he has sabotaged the water pump, which we already fixed. So I found a curious note in Burge. It mentions you by name. Generally speaking, you're going to want to just kill him. So take this top option. And I'm going to do this, but the explain yourself option here, he gives you a sob story, and you let him live. He gives you a key to a secret area in Act 1, and then you fight him again at a later point. Now, I'm going to kill him, just so I don't have to deal with him later. The key that he gives you opens up a secret area that I'm not interested in for this build. Killing Salazar for this build is not really important. And killing him, when you turn the quest in by talking to Bourbon over here, will get you 1 Blood of Chthon, which is quite rare, 500 Reputation, which is very good, and 1,000 Iron, which is, whatever. This is the reason why you kill him. The other thing that it gets you, if you take the other option, is you don't have to farm the key. So, the secret area is over here in the outskirts. I don't think I've definitely not been there, but if you just walk down this way, you'll find some cultists, and if you kill all the cultists, they may drop you a key, they may not. You'll also find the door. The door is what the key goes to. So you can exit the menu, come back in, and just kill the cultists until they drop you the key. Or you can let Dureni go and he'll just give you the key. The thing is, though, like I said, the actual area itself is quite dangerous. Salazar is a little bit scary. And the loot is not really something that we care about. When I eventually do a pet conjurer build, I will go in there and kill him at that point, but unless you're playing a pet build, you don't need his weapon, and going in there is just pointless risk, honestly. Alright, let's go ahead and kill all these. Now, I'm taking an absolute beating now. My health is a little bit above the 100 per level threshold. I am going to keep hanging on to these attribute points. I could also look at maybe putting... Actually, you know what? I'm going to put that on there. That'll get me a few extra hit points. I could also put one on my chest. I'm going to hang on to my last 2, though. You don't want to use all of them. They do kind of drop like candy, and you'll be rolling in them later, but you don't want to need 2 of them for some sort of crafting and only have 1. Okay, we're starting to get a decent amount of blues, and I already know these weapons, or this weapon, and this helmet. Now, yes, they are blue items. And yes, this does have +2 to savagery, which is lit up. We're not using savagery, so that's worthless. Cunning is physical damage. We don't do physical damage, so cunning is not great. Physical damage and bleeding damage, I don't care. I'm not doing those damage types. So all we have on here is a little bit of a stat we don't really need, and the Berserk proc. Now, the Berserk proc is going to give us crit damage, and our crit chance is 4%. So 10% of 4% is like 0.4% extra damage. The attack speed and the casting speed is very nice. The minus 25% physical resistance means we are going to get absolutely shreked by anything that hits us. And the minus elemental resistance means we're going to be taking about 50% more damage from elemental as well. So this is really bad. I would never wear this. This weapon is chaos damage. It converts our damage to chaos. I mean, not that we do a huge amount of physical damage anyway, but it's just... Yes, they're blue items. Technically, they're higher quality, but they're just not worth using. And that's, I think, the blue trap, or the purple trap as well, because you're going to get some purple items that that look amazing and they're super shiny and you really want to use them, but they're not for your build. And they're going to make your character worse by equipping them. And I think a lot of new players especially get caught in that trap. Aggressive of attack. That is a lot of stuff I want. I'm going to put that one on. So the reason why I put this one on is the armor is 16 instead of 7, and as I discussed in the last episode, armor on your belt is applied to every slot. So 16 there, really good. I'm going to chuck my scavenge plating over on that one, and I'm going to hang on to this belt because later we'll be able to take that scavenge plating off, and I do want it back. But we've just got 31 armor in every single slot from this belt, which is pretty good. And then the offensive ability, I mean, my crit chance went up a little bit, but otherwise it's fine. The main reason we're here, though, is these fabrics. So there's 3 of them in this area, and you kind of just learn which boxes they're in. They are always in weathered chests, but the weathered chests do not always have a fabric in them. If you find a weathered chest here, it will have a fabric. If you find a weathered chest down here, like I did, this one, this will have a fabric. There's one out here, it will have a fabric. Anyone that's here, no fabric. Over here, no fabric. If there's one at the base of these stairs, so that one there is going to be a fabric. This one is a fabric. And then there's one more in this building against the back wall underneath a window, which it looks like I'm probably not going to get. Because, oh, that's metal. Weathered chest. Dang it. Fabric in there. If you get to the house and you haven't found 2, then you missed one. If you get to the house and there's no box here and you haven't already found all of them, then you missed some as well. So, just here is the last one you want to check for. And if you're walking out the back here and you haven't got 3, then you've missed one and you should probably go back. Because the reward for that quest is pretty good. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. It's a level 20 chest piece with good stats, good armor. Like I said, it's not amazing, but it's decent. And you may not have a better item by then. Okay, I like to come in this way because it's the direct route, and if you get lucky like I did and there's no massive pile of flaming debris here, you can just walk straight out here, clear this little courtyard, and get another devotion point, which I am definitely keen to do. Slithbane, another blue item that I am not going to equip. I'm not even going to look at it. I know what that weapon is, and it's not something I'm interested in. Although, actually, now that I say that, this fireball does drag our main hand damage in, and so if the number is bigger, which it is, this could actually be worth using. It is all acid damage, which doesn't really matter. We'd be doing acid fireball. So actually may end up using that. We'll see how we go. I do ideally want a lightning weapon, but you can't always get what you want. We got another Ring of Steel proc here. I'm going to chuck that on. These pants I'm going to keep because Aether resistance. They've also got pretty good armor on them. Aether Fire of Fortitude, not bad, not bad. There we go. Did I get a level? I didn't, but I did get a devotion point. Tsunami, I'm putting that on Wind Devil, so we will see... Let's actually go show this. Bunch of dudes around the corner here. We're going to see a lot of little splashes, like this. This is Tsunami. Each of them can trigger it independently, although I think it has a cooldown. 1 second skill recharge. So yes, it has a cooldown, but the proc chance is low enough that I don't think you're going to be running up against the cooldown very often. But it's just extra damage. It's more chance for the enemy to not be able to hit you because of the, I think it was a fumble and impaired aim on that. Fumble is for melee attacks, impaired aim is for ranged attacks. And having your enemies not be able to hit you is definitely good. This is the Inventor's Apprentice quest here. We want to rescue her. We absolutely, definitely, 100% want to have an inventor available. She's going to let us take components off of items. She's going to let us take our expensive components off of items we don't want. And she's going to let us take our cheap rubbish components off of the items we do want. So, depending on if you want to keep the item or the component, you will destroy the other option. Alright, so we've made it to the Burridge Estates. We're level 15. I think I'll just go ahead and get level 16, and then maybe we'll do the swap at that point. Definitely need to get a new weapon if we're swapping to Eye of Reckoning. So we can run around now, actually, and just let the whirly boys kill everything. I came over here for this Aether Crystal. I say this all the time. I don't think I've said it in this particular playthrough yet, but you can never have enough Aether Crystals. You think you have enough, you don't. You're not even close. Absolutely take every opportunity to pick up every Aether Crystal you can get your hand on. Go out of your way to get them. You will need more Aether Crystals than you have, I guarantee it. This is pretty good. You know, the damage is pretty good. We've got 3 additional skill points here. I could take this up to 14, but I'm actually, like I said, going to go ahead and do the swap here. We're going to go down into the cellar and get the Rift Gate, then we'll head back to town and we will swap all of our skill points out. And we're going to become the Wind Devil, let's put it that way. Now at this point it's very difficult to actually do majority lightning damage. We are going to be this amalgamation of fire and physical and a little bit of lightning, I think. But it'll be fine. We'll be fine. It's all going to be fine. We will be specializing into lightning damage, but that's going to require a monster infrequent item from the very end of Forgotten Gods. So we'll come through here. There's going to be a bunch of rift gates which don't even show on the map here yet. And the very last one, go back 1, and that's where we're going to be going for our weapon. We're going to be farming via the Kaiman, who is quite dangerous, so it's going to be fun. Alright, Starlet here, you're welcome and thanks. First thing I'm going to do, any items I had that had components I want on them, I want to keep the add-on. Give me my scavenge plating back. Soul Warding. There's another bunch of Aether Resistance, decent armor, bunch of health. I am actually going to swap that in, and I'm going to keep this. So I'm going to put that back on my belt, and the rest of this gear I'm going to sell. You definitely want to be thinking about Aether Resistance at this point. Though, having said that, if you perhaps don't have any items, it's not the end of the world. That I think I might hang on to. Yeah, we'll use that one, no problems. Nope. Okay. Let's go ahead and swap that in. We'll sell this. I don't need that Searing Ember. I'm not playing a fire build, although we may be doing a little bit of fire. I will keep it. I changed my mind. We're going to be doing a little bit of fire here, so I do want to keep that add-on. That's fine. Yep. Okay. Now we are level 15. We do have a blacksmith available, so I could do a bunch of crafting now, but I'm going to leave it for a little while. I'll do all the crafting at the end of Act 1. Constance here was the one who was going to send us for the fabric, although obviously I did the quest without having the quest available. Alright, before we respec, we do need to cancel that. And one thing I will say is I want Rowan's crown pretty much ASAP. which means I'm going to be respecking all of these points as well. So Rowan's Crown needs purple and it needs green. So I'm going to be taking, well, I'll just show you. So devotion points, take these out. Every single point you take out will cost you an Aether Crystal. So when I say you don't have enough, this is part of it, but mostly it's for crafting. But I want all of my my devotion points back. I should have 6. I have 6. Okay. The other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to remove all of my points from Shaman, taking this back down to 1 point. Now you can't take the last point out. Okay, you're stuck. Once you have spent 1 point in Shaman, you are a Shaman forever unless you cheat. So I am stuck with 1 point in Shaman. But we are going to go ahead and put a bunch of points in here. Now 1 point gets us very, very little damage. 5 to 31 because of our main hand is very bad. 17 to 26 physical and 21 fire damage is not great. Soulfire will be adding a bunch of lightning damage, which is pretty good. But there's a few other things we want to get our hands on as well. Let's just take this up to, let's say 10 points. I do want to get 1 point in Fire's Might for movement, and then this one I think is extra range. Okay, we're not quite at the point where we can take that. That's fine. Eye of Reckoning is not a default attack replacer, so you cannot trigger Shattering Smash, you cannot trigger Smite, so these are worthless. We're not using a shield, so we don't need a point in Safeguard either. I guess we could put a point here just for the extra fire, but it kind of seems no. I will put 1 point in each of these. Getting Presence of Virtue, a little bit of extra damage, offensive ability. Haven is really good for the health. Obviously, if you have enough points to spend here, you should be putting them here instead, but you know, whatever, 1 point in this is pretty good. I'm going to put 1 point in Resilience. If we get low on health, this will just kind of help a little bit in keeping us alive. And I'm going to leave Ascension for now. So that leaves me with 5 points. We are using a two-hander, so putting points in Brute Force here adds a bunch of lightning damage, adds a bunch of health. This is going to be quite useful. Do I need 5 points in that? Do I need it? No. Do I want it? Kind of. We're looking at 50 energy per second. So I get 20 seconds and my energy bar is gone, which is not great. Let's get some extra damage there. Okay, we'll put Eye of Reckoning here. Via's Might is going to be a movement skill on button number 1. So we get a little dash, we can evade. Can't use this weapon yet. What kind of damage are we actually doing? So we're doing mostly physical, a little bit of fire, and a little bit of lightning. Now, that's another thing to point out as well. Because this only does 24% of main hand damage, that means we only get 24% of 68 lightning damage. Any flat damage we get will be multiplied by that 24% main hand damage, which means adding flat damage to this skill is kind of hard. It'll be fine later on. We'll get our one-handed weapons that are going to add 12% more weapon damage each. I will probably end up dual wielding them. We'll see. It's going to be fun. Don't worry about it. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of extra fire damage. So we can search here for fire damage. This one is melee weapons, shield, and caster offhands. And it's going to add a bunch of fire damage, a bunch of percent fire damage. Does require level 20, which is unfortunate, so can't really use that just yet. We'll leave it for now. We could maybe put a severed claw, or chipped claw, I guess. Get us a little bit of extra physical damage. I'll just do that for now. It'll be fine. So, devotion-wise, I want to get the Quill, which means I need 1 point in green. And now we've finished the Quill. So the Quill is a lot of elemental damage, get some health. Aether resistance is nice to have early, but this is an elemental damage constellation. Because it gives me purple and green affinities, that means it supports itself, and I can take my green point back. And then I can put that into the Hawk. So the Hawk is, yeah, its offensive ability, its crit damage. It's kind of just okay. I'm taking this because it's going to get me the points I need in order to access the Rowan's Crown. Now, I will need to have 1 point in purple, but once I finish this, that'll give me the greens I need. So 3 plus another 3 here is 6, which will give me the 6 green I need. Then I put 1 point in purple here, and we've got access to the Rowan's Crown, which is the proc I want to get online first. After that, we're going to be going for the Widow, which is going to be our lightning resistance shredding. We don't currently do huge amounts of lightning damage, so I'm not in a hurry to get that online. Let's go kill some stuff. Let's see how this works. We're almost an hour, 40 minutes into the video, and I'm just starting spinning and winning. So here we go. Okay, can we just hold that and spin nicely? Yeah, we can. Okay. This is looking good. That's actually way better than I expected. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't expect it to be this good. Alright, cool. Well, I'm glad it is, because this is how I'm going to be playing this character, and if it was bad, I'd be less happy, shall we say. The fact that this is quite low on the weapon damage percentage also means that any kind of lifesteal we get is going to be less effective. So if I had 4% lifesteal at this point, or attack damage converted to healing, because we're only doing 24% main hand damage, guess who's only getting 1% attack damage converted to health? Yep, that'd be right, this guy. Okay, I'm not going to do this. This is the Destroyer of Noobs. This is the most killingest totem in the game. I pretty much guarantee you that totem has ended more characters than any other totem in the entire game. It is not the most dangerous, but I guarantee you it's killed the most people. So I'm going to not tempt fate. I'm going to walk past that, and it's going to be fine. These guys, as you just saw, they will explode. So go ahead and don't get yourself killed. Can I kill this big boy right here? I mean, I can. This looks kind of silly, I'm not going to lie. But hey, that's why I named the character Dizzy, right? He's going to get very dizzy just spinning in place on these bosses. Alright, heading down. We have found the Warden's Laboratory. Well, sort of. We found the area that the Warden's Laboratory is in. There is another devotion shrine in this area, as well as another totem. So we've got some stuff to do. But our main objective here is just get to the Warden's Laboratory, farm as many Aether Crystals as we can, and then kill the Warden. Aether Crystals, like I said, you can never have enough of these. As soon as you start crafting any kind of components, and we're going to be crafting several components that need Aether Crystals at the end of Act 1. So I'm probably going to do another run of the Warden's Laboratory just to get some more Aether Crystals. But like I said, you will not have enough, I promise you. Alright, I like to go this way. You can go through here. There's hidden loot in the walls, which is really nice. But I prefer to just kind of walk normally, but, you know, spin this time. Spin along the wagon tracks. And as a general rule, if you don't know where to go, follow the wagon tracks. And usually you're going to want to go north for pretty much the whole game. Alright, there's my next point, which means I have now finished the Hawk. What does this get me? Actually not much, just more offensive ability, crit damage, offensive ability. We're here for the green points, that's it. I could have gone for the Fox to get my green points, and then something like Empty Throne to get my purple. That would have worked, that would be 8 points instead of, well, 8 points, so it's probably same. But we are doing elemental damage, so getting the Quill is not a bad idea. Okay, I am actually surprised by how little energy this is draining, so I'm pretty happy about that. I've not played Eye of Reckoning for quite a while, and I definitely remember this absolutely sucking my energy bar empty. So I'm happy that it's not doing that, but I am also surprised. Definitely going to kill all of these zombies. I have a very good area clearing skill, although getting stunned out of it is really getting old already. So I'm going to want some more stun resistance. Not that that will stop the stuns, but it will reduce the duration. Did I get all the crystals? I did. Beautiful. You can run through here. I'm going to take the top route here just to get the extra aether crystals. Because, as I've already mentioned, you can never have enough of them. Okay, we don't have an option for healing at the moment, aside from the healing potion, which is not great. Definitely going to have to get something healing related online pretty quickly. But for now, we're okay. This totem, you can probably do this one. This is also likely to spit out Ethereal Vanguard, so I'm going to give this one a shot. And I'm going to be ready to run away. I'm also going to spend a few more points here and there. I'll get one more in Spirit. Getting a point in Spirit will give you more regen, more energy as a base. It's just generally good. Can I use this? Yes. Do I want to use this? I don't know. I've got some more points to spend here. More points in Eye of Reckoning is going to increase the energy cost. Yep, there it is. But it's also going to increase the damage. However, I also kind of want to get over here to Soulfire as well. Kind of fastish. Getting to Soulfire is going to be 5 entire levels worth of points, which we can definitely do. The other thing we could do is go and get our Wind Devils back, which is not a horrible idea. The Raging Tempest shredding here is going to be quite useful. Other than that, Mogdrogan's Pact is always good to have. The entire line is really good. I think we're going to spend 2 points maxing Eye of Reckoning, because having your attack skill maxed is always a good thing. Then we'll take this up to probably 40 and get Soulfire. Then we'll take it to 50 and get Guardians of Empyrean. Alright, let's do this. We've got, looks like just regular Ethereals, which is good. The Ethereal Vanguard is not really something I want to mess with at this point. Although, maybe it would be fine. Okay, potions on cooldown here. Which is probably fine here. Gilliston the Reborn here. I killed him once and he comes back to life. That's kind of his thing. So we'll just kill him again. There he goes. He's dropped us a Hoarfrost Ointment, which is good for reducing freeze duration. I don't think I've ever used one of those. Stormcaller's Spellblade. Not horrible. Royal Jelly stuff is really, really good. The Gunslinger's Jacket's obviously a pistol item. Let's go ahead and see what happens if I chuck this on. So, Eye of Reckoning, 348 to 447. We get a little more, well, we get a decent amount more on the minimum. We get a little bit less, actually, on the top end. Oh no, it is actually a little bit more. So, when I said earlier that this is rubbish, I mean, it kind of is, but we'll use it for now. There are Vitriolic Gallstones, which could be good to put in here. I'm also going to swap out the Stormcaller's Circlet now. Because I'm not doing Wind Devil stuff anymore, I probably should have taken this off when I did the respec, but that's not really super helpful anymore. Aggressive of Scorched Runes on the belt is actually kind of decent, though we are actually doing a lot of acid damage at the moment. So Vigorous of Drieg's Gaze could be useful. Let's have a look at that. A little bit of acid, a little bit of poison. That'll be fine. I think we're good to go. Aether resistance is huge, so Ethereals that do any kind of Aether damage, I'm pretty much going to laugh at their damage now. So you're kind of expected not to have a huge amount of Aether resistance in Act 1. They're not really expecting you to know that it's a thing. So you can make the Act 1 boss and a lot of this area a little bit easy just by having the resistances that they're not really expecting you to have at this point, which can be fun. And obviously I like XP, so I'm just going to continue spinning and winning. And get getting more crystals. Now, I did mention you're not going to have enough of these. I promise you 12 is not enough. We're going to need something like 30 for crafting at the end of Act 1. So I'm actually going to exit the main menu, start the game again, and I'm going to go back through the Warden's Laboratory and get another set. I'm not 100% sure exactly how many you need, but 2 runs through there is generally enough to get the 2 ward stones that I want, and maybe get a weapon component that might be good. But generally speaking, it's not a bad idea to just go and get more, just anyway. That Overseer's Eye there, Thunderstruck of Thunder, if we were doing a Shaman build, that would be really good for the Storm Totems. And if you ever do make a Shaman with a Storm Totem build, I guarantee you something like this is not going to drop. Whoop, getting a little low on health there. Don't worry if you do decide to come through here a second time, same as I am. Don't stress about being over-leveled. That's not really a thing in Grim Dawn. Technically, it is a thing, you can be over-leveled, but it's not something you need to worry about. If you're lower than level 30 when you finish Act 1, it's fine. If you somehow manage to get to level 30 before finishing Act 1, I don't even know how you would do that, honestly. You would have to be farming the Warden for several times to get to that point. Alright. Eye of Reckoning is now maxed out. We have 30% main hand damage, we have a bunch of flat, physical, and fire damage. This can get better with extra skill points from items, but 16 out of 16, that's as many points as I can actually assign here. This is as strong as it's going to get for a little while. Which is fine, because, you know, it's pretty strong. We're killing stuff plenty fast, and it's fine, it's fine. We're spinning, we're winning, we're collecting Aether Crystals. All things that you definitely want to be doing. And in between your bouts of spinning, you pick up, you can use the movement skill. Alright, there are 14 crystals in total. I've got 25. I'm going to say that's enough. Let's go kill Krieg. We'll kill Krieg, we'll do a little bit of crafting at the end, and then we will start on Act 2 in the next episode. So, grab these. Kill these things because, you know, XP. Anything made out of XP must be destroyed. And these guys are all made out of XP. These eyeballs can be a problem, especially if your elemental resist is not great. Kind of like mine is not great. Don't forget to grab your lore notes for the free XP. And otherwise, just kind of spin into large groups, I guess, and then be on your way. Like I said, don't forget your lore notes. There are going to be some heroes in here. So people like Getrand here, it's probably not worth sticking around to kill. Especially not when he has his little ring of fire up. He went to Taco Bell last night. Or insert whatever restaurant in your local area gives people diarrhea. He's honestly not worth fighting at this point. He has a lot of health. He's going to do tons of damage to me if I stand near him because of that, that little fire ring. So I'm just going to walk away from him. It's not the end of the world if you don't kill every hero you encounter. I could go down here and do the abandoned storeroom section. There is the spider caves there that does have a one-shot chest in it. But I'm going to skip that for the sake of the length of the video. Also, one-shot chests at this point, you're basically praying you get a good weapon out of it. And if you don't get a good weapon out of it, it's a little bit of a waste of time. A lot of the non-weapon items that you'll get out of there are going to be not very good, shall we say. Alright, let's have a look at our gear. These pants, honestly, 60% Aether resistance is good enough. I'm not going to swap these in. The belt for the regen, I might actually swap in. My regen is... It's not great. It's definitely Not very much. So I'm relying on a healing potion at this point, which is never something you want to be saying. Healing potion is no healing, and you need another method of getting your health back. I don't have one at this point, which is not good. So getting regeneration items is probably my best bet. I will most likely go and play with that here in a second. Zabrant there is another hero that you can skip. He's got a ton of health. He is less dangerous to be around due to not really having the Ring of Fire, but he's going to just constantly resummon stuff. And you don't need to kill him. Definitely can, but you don't need to. Let's go back to Devil's Crossing and just look at gear. So, yes, I have a couple of rare rings, but maybe I don't want to use those for this fight. Maybe I can find something better. Let's have a look here. Regen. Regen. Alright, we got 21 regeneration on this medal. Now, my medal is not bad, and this is quite expensive, actually, just looking at it. So maybe I'm not going to buy that one. But it wouldn't be horrible. That helmet has some 11% increased health regen. This one I don't think is worth doing so much. I am looking specifically for gold rings, because they're going to have a much higher base regeneration on them. Fortunately, there isn't really one there. Let's see what you've got. Here we go. Gold band. Unfortunately, none of them have regen. Gold band of supremacy. Okay. What about this amulet? No. Here we go. 21 health regeneration on an amulet. We're going into a fight where I don't really need... Where is it? There it is. I don't need poison and acid resistance to fight Krieg. I don't need elemental resistance to fight Krieg. I do kind of want some regeneration. So we're going to use that. This one... This would also be good, but none of those resistances apply to Krieg. So this is kind of not great for fighting him. So I'm happy with this one for now. We could also look at... Here we go. Here's 20 health regen and some Aether resistance. That's not bad. Incorruptible of Mending. This is actually really good, but look at the price tag on it. 21,000 bits. I can't afford it. I think we just take... Honestly, I think we take this one. We'll chuck that on there. It'll be grand. The other thing I can do, since I didn't really find any really nice regen rings, I can put Corpse Dust, if I have one. Yep, Corpse Dust here. 24% increased health regeneration. I'm going to chuck this one. I'm going to chuck this one on my amulet. You didn't see anything. And if I have 2 more of them, I can put them on these rings. So like I said, my actual rings are not very good. But it's kind of okay. Let's see, do I have another Corpse Dust? I don't, and it's kind of fine. My regen now is up to 61, which is still not amazing, but it's going to be fine. The other things we could do a little bit of crafting here. Ward stones are going to be good, so move speed, elemental bleeding resistance. Bleeding, I think Krieg does do bleeding and piercing and Aether damage. So getting wardstone would not be bad. I would be putting them onto a metal, so maybe leave that for now, but I think this is enough. This should be okay to kill Krieg. We're going to be in melee range fairly reliably. And it should be okay. I can evade out and then Vire's might back in when he does his stomp. And it should be okay. Should be okay. Alright, I'm going to kill a few more of these idiots just to get to level 19. Get a few more skill points. There we go. I think we just straight into stats. And I'm going to put a few more points in spirit. I'll probably take this up to 10. And it'll be fine. Alright, let's go in and see Krieg. Now, I could spend a minute or two trying to kill that guy. I'm not going to bother. We are just going to kill Krieg. I'm going to hopefully kill his friends before he comes back. Or before he notices that I'm here, rather. There we go. Okay, Krieg first form is a little bit of a joke. We could probably just left-click him to death, honestly. The other thing I could do is I could go and respec and get a few points in Mogdrogans for some more regen. I'm not going to bother. We're just going to go kill him. So first form, we can just spin straight into him. We don't need to go anywhere. He'll stun us a little bit, knock us out of the spinning, and that's fine. One thing I will do, it's a little bit gamey. I'm going to game the system a bit, as it were. We're going to get him low, and then walk away. Okay, there we go. That's kind of low. Hopefully it's not too low. As long as you stay in melee, you don't have to deal with any of this rubbish. But I want to not stand on the trap, would have been a good start. I want to get my energy back up. I want to wait for this to regenerate. And otherwise, let's see if I can find that trap again. Otherwise, I just want to more or less stay out of his way. Successfully finding all of the traps. This is a Sunder, you don't want to get hit by it. Okay, I'm gonna say that's enough. Okay, first form's down. Now, his second form, I'm gonna kind of play with him a little bit. He's gonna dash, do an attack, now he'll do his stomp. Now we get either the bees or the Aether Wave, or usually both one after the other. There's the bees. It's not actually bees, but it's kind of bees. Anytime he dashes, he's gonna do a stomp. This is how you can just run circles around him, quite literally. As long as you are moving sideways, he will never hit you. You can do this at any point in the fight. If he starts killing you, if you're worried about dying, just go do this, and I mean, he can't hit me. But what you actually want to do is you want to be in melee. Now that little Aether Wave, yeah, it stuns, it's annoying. The Stomp, because I have high Aether resistance, doesn't really hurt that much. And I can just stay in melee range. I'm getting a little bit low, I'm going to use a health potion. My energy's getting a little bit low, I'm going to use an energy potion. And otherwise, we just stay in his face and spin. Health is getting a little low, it's probably fine. My healing potion's back up. Stomp, he missed. Alright, I'm not going to use my healing potion until I get below half. Stomp, I'm low, use the potion, it's fine. My energy potion is coming off cooldown right now. I'm below half, I'll use the potion. And it's fine. Do note that when he dies for the second time, he leaves all this goop on the floor. Don't stand in that and die while you're looking at the loot. I mean, I would never do something silly like that, but, you know, just make sure you don't do it either. I have definitely stood in that goop and died. I think the first time I killed him, I was so kind of hyped up and excited about it that I didn't even notice, and then I died. So, don't do what I did. Let's go ahead and chuck that one back on. What about a belt? I did have this belt. I probably should have used it, but didn't, and it's just kind of, it's fine. Okay, when you kill him, don't forget his chest here, because the first time you kill him, his chest will drop a tainted brain matter every single time. You can use this to craft a relic. So that's what I'm going to go and do. Let's just make sure none of these items are massive upgrades. Those are definitely massive upgrades. The only line I looked at before I decided this was a massive upgrade is the 195 armor. The rest of it is nice. Doubling your armor on a piece of gear is really, really good. So if I could get a chest piece, like for example the quest reward that I sold, if I could get a chest piece with almost 200 armor, I would absolutely be using it. I did just swap out the splintered boots here. The final march, I'll be losing some movement speed, but that's fine. We're going to do some crafting and get that back. Go around the warden's room here. Some of these chests will break. Sometimes there's a bookshelf here. You can get a lore node out of it occasionally. A little bit of extra XP. Alright, I'm going to go through my standard crafting. Okay, I do this on just about every character when I hit the end of Act 1. I'm going to do it on this character as well. So, yep, the Warden is dead. Captain Bourbon, blah, 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 blah. Absolutely. Very well, I will go and do your quests for you. Okay, Duncan. Duncan is our blacksmith. We need 2 wardstones. Alright? Wardstones, this is, again, you can never have enough aether crystals. This is a part of it. We want 2 of those. 1, 2. So you want 1 wardstone on your medal. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter at this point. Just chuck it on there. And same for your amulet. Whatever you have, chuck the wardstone on there. You'll be more or less capped on elemental unless you've been very unlucky with the rest of your gear. And you'll have decent bleeding resistance just from those 2 components. The other one you're going to want to do is get a silk swatch here. Now, if you just do a search for SIL, you'll notice the silk swatch needs a resilient plating, and SIL will bring both of those up. So, 1 resilient plating, this is going to need scrap, and it's also going to need scavenged plating. 1 silk swatch, you're going to need serrated spikes, and also aether crystals. Boom. Chuck that on your shoulders. This is going to give you piercing resistance, which is very important for Act 2. It's also going to give you bleeding resistance, which honestly is less important, but it's not horrible. I probably should swap those over as well, actually. I'll take this off in a minute. Those pants are no longer needed. This amulet, I mean, honestly, it's a good amulet, but it's fine. And same for that belt. Alright, silk swatch in the shoulders. You're going to want to get rid of that scavenged plating. Instead of that, in your belt, you want an anti-venom salve. If you can make 2 of these, go ahead and do it, but just for now, make 1 and put it on your belt. Now, obviously, I have a scavenged plating there. I'm going to have to take that off. That's fine. Anti-venom salve on the belt. If you have materials to make a second one at the end, when we're finished all the other stuff, make a second one of these and put it on your helmet. The next thing you want to search for is SCA. We want scaled hides, and we need 2 of these, which means we're going to need scavenged plating again, and also bristly fur. But I've got enough stuff to make 2 of these. I'm going to go ahead and make them. 1 on your pants, and 1 on your chest. Ring components for now don't really matter. Emeralds are a good stopgap. You could also use the corpse dust if you have it. Later, we'll be putting soul shards on there for vitality resistance, but for now, polished emeralds or corpse dust will be fine. Where did that one there? So, scaled hide, anti-venom salve, wardstone, anti-venom salve at the end after you've made everything else. Silk swatch on your shoulders, and then emeralds on your rings is fine. If not, corpse dust. If not, just leave them blank. Honestly, it's fine. If you have an unholy inscription, these are really good for your gloves. Probably the best bet at this point. If you don't have one of these, don't worry about it. Just leave your gloves empty. We'll find one pretty soon. Let's see what else I have here. Now, one thing I should mention as well before I do this, I've already rebuilt the bridge here. At least I'm pretty sure I have. Let's go double check. You need 6 scrap to rebuild that bridge. If you haven't rebuilt the bridge, don't do any crafting. Go and rebuild your bridge first. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in town. You're going to have really nice, fancy components, and you won't be able to leave. Yeah, I did already repair that. So make sure you repair the bridge first. Make sure you have enough scrap and everything to craft all your other stuff before you craft a second anti-venom salve. And speaking of anti-venom salves, I need to keep my item here. Unfortunately, that is going to destroy that scavenged plating, which it's not great, but kind of is what it is. I want to keep the add-on here. And you can put this on a ring. 4% health, increase health regeneration, a little bit of vitality resist. This won't matter until considerably later, but they're pretty good. Okay, and I think we're pretty much done at this point. I could try and make a vitriolic gallstone for my weapon. Don't make a vitriolic gallstone unless you have this weapon. If you're not doing at least half of your damage as acid, don't make a vitriolic gallstone. If you're doing mostly fire damage, which most people will be, they'll either be doing mostly physical or mostly fire, at that point you want to go and get yourself an enchanted flint here. I'm going to make one of these anyway because my next weapon is almost certainly not going to be poison. So I'm going to make that. This one requires level 20 as well, but it does give you that aura with the extra fire damage, the extra burn damage, all this kind of really good stuff. This one's pretty good. Failing that, we could make a severed claw if you want to double down on the physical side of it. We are doing lightning damage eventually, but we're not there yet. We need to worry about the damage we have, not the damage we want. Okay, now that I'm done lecturing everyone, let's go ahead and clean up the inventory a little bit. And the other thing I wanted to mention is relics. You can craft these relics. Calamity is okay for extra damage. I prefer Equilibrium. Early in Act 2, there is a free relic that you can get for completing a quest. I'm going to make the Equilibrium because I like the move speed, I like the elemental resist, and I like the stun proc when things hit me. If you want to wait for the free one, that's fine. You won't have to pay the Tainted Brain. Remember, you get one of these for killing the Warden as long as you loot his chest. If you didn't loot his chest, you may not be able to craft this. But it is still quite expensive to make this. The free relic will give you 5% to all of your stats, and it'll give you an activatable ability that will increase all of your damage by 100%, which is not actually double damage, although it could be. So for my acid, I'm already at 48% increase. This will take it to 148. So it's not double damage, it's like 2/3 extra damage. It's pretty good at low levels. It gets less effective as you level up. But it's a button you have to click. And I'm really bad at remembering to click it, so I don't usually use it unless I'm playing a build that sucks all of the energy out of your energy bar. Now, granted, this is... if I can get it to stay in place. This is kind of energy hungry. It's not super energy hungry like I was kind of expecting. But it is a little bit energy hungry. We'll be right. Okay, so, one last recap. Scaled hide, chest and legs, anti-venom salve in your belt, which I need to go and put on there. Ward stones on your medal and your amulet. Silk swatch in your shoulders, and that's enough. Okay, if you have that, then you're done and you can start looking for luxury items. So what are luxury items? Well, these polished emeralds in your rings are kind of luxury items. You don't need them. They're nice extra stats. But if I didn't have those on there, it'd be fine. So I consider those luxury items. The other thing I consider luxury item, and I'm not actually going to make this because I don't have a scavenged plating, but a second anti-venom salve in my helmet would be pretty good. This particular component, the Unholy Inscription, you are unlikely to have this. So just not having anything in your gloves is fine. Not having anything in your boots is fine. And not having anything on your weapon is also fine because we're not level 20 yet, so the good crafted components kind of don't exist there. Why did I come over here? Can't remember. The other thing I was going to show is the last page here on the merchants. They sell some of the components that you're going to need to craft stuff. So, Frozen Heart, you'll need one of these for Act 2. You'll probably get one from the Slith, just accidentally. You'll just have one. But if you don't have one, you can buy one here when we get to the Devotion Shrine that needs it. What else we got here? Serrated Spike, you'll need these for the Silk Swatch. If you don't have one, they usually drop from insects. But if you don't have one, you can buy it here and still craft your Silk Swatch. The merchants also sell scrap, so if you're short on scrap, you may need to buy one, and that's fine. And Bristly Fur, I think, is used in something as well. If you need something from them and they don't have it, you can go ahead and leave the town. Just use the Rift Gate, go somewhere else, anywhere else, doesn't really matter. Somewhere safe would be preferable, but I mean, realistically, just come here. If you're not recording a video like I am, maybe you don't have anything to talk about, but just count to 10 in your head, and then come back to town. What this does is it resets the vendors. So he had scrap before, now he doesn't have scrap. He didn't have a scavenged plating before, Now he does. I'm going to buy one of these. I'm going to make that anti-venom cell for my helmet. I've got a little bit of extra bits to play with. I've got the components and scrap and stuff. I can afford to make that. If you can't afford to make it, don't worry about it. One is enough. 43% poison resistance is okay going into Act 2. Piercing is the one you want to get. If you've only got piercing resist from this silk swatch, consider not making the scaled hide and making 2 silk swatches instead. It'll be fine either way, but it will make your life a little bit easier. Anti-venom salve, I'm going to put that in my helmet. If you really want to cap your resistances, you can make another one for your boots. You could put another one in your gloves as well. You can get 80% poison res from anti-venom salves. They also give you some regen, so my regen is probably pretty bad again. Where are we? Yeah, just 31. So I'm getting 20 of that from those two, and it's going to be fine. Okay, that's going to be it for episode number 2. So next episode we're going to be starting on Act 2. We could also at this point go and talk to the emissary. Jump straight in down here. I'm probably going to go and kill Cronley first, because we need something from the faction merchant here, and getting Cronley dead will give us the reputation we need. And then, once we've killed Cronley, we'll probably jump into Forgotten Gods, but that's going to be it for this episode. So thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye for now.